Well, I just wanted to say that was actually eye-opening.
Yes.
I've recently been
Very
so into conspiracy stuff, and I like hearing this makes me just question like the higher power that you were talking about.
Do
I
me a
believe in
favor.
the royal family, all that stuff.
Dave, thank you for taking time out and talking not just with this class, but with other classes as well. So let me do this. I'm going to flip you around so that you can see everybody. So everybody say hi.
All right. Hi, everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, I was about to say, why don't you take it away? Share a little bit about you and why you're so passionate about flat Earth.
All right. So the amount of time that we have is not nearly enough time to explain flat Earth. So at the end of this, I do not expect any of you to believe the Earth is flat, but I'm going to show you some doors that were never shown to you. Okay. In school, except for this class, they don't teach you how to think. They teach you what to think. They tell you all about history. 99% of it's false, maybe 100%. They teach you a whole bunch of things, but they want you to memorize and regurgitate. And if you can do that well, you can become a teacher and teach the next generation. So how did I get into flat Earth? I was doing a conspiracy podcast. Now conspiracies. What is the definition of a conspiracy? It's when two or more people get together and...
So fast,
am I talking too fast? Hello?
Well, you're freezing.
Uh-oh. That's not good. Are we caught up?
We're good.
All right. So a conspiracy is when two or more people conspire for their own benefit. That happens every day, everywhere, all the time. So there's lots of conspiracies. And then flat Earth was thrown at me. And that's when I just disregarded. I said, nope, absolutely not. I'm not going to waste my time talking, even looking at a 1-minute video because it's so stupid. Of course, we know the Earth is a globe. And then finally, a researcher that I trust very much forced me to look. And I started... she goes, watch these videos. And you say, oh, where do you learn about flat Earth? YouTube. YouTube is just a source of information. There's garbage in there and there's good stuff in there. And back in 2014, YouTube would feed you, hey, oh, you like that? Watch this. Oh, you like that? Watch this. And flat Earth became the #1 searched term on YouTube and on Google. Back then, President Trump had the term President Trump was the highest search term. And then the day flat Earth beat President Trump, they took the scoreboard down. So now when you search on YouTube, it doesn't tell you how many people are searching for the same thing. They literally took the scoreboard down when flat Earth took first place. So why do I think the Earth is flat? I don't think it's flat. I know it's a level horizontal plane. Flat is not a shape. Okay. I know that the ball is scientifically impossible. I'm going to go over 3 points as fast as I can. And then I want to hear your questions. I know what your questions are. How does the sun set? What about seasons? What about circumnavigation? Those are the basics. And I'm going to basically cover them. So this is a balloon, 127,000 feet up. Okay. And the sun's right there. And if you look, there's a little hot spot on the clouds on the atmospheric deck. Okay. If the sun was 93 million miles away, as they tell us, it would light up everything equally. But for some reason, it's acting like a local light. Okay. A local light. What is the sun? Don't ask me. We don't know. Okay. So here is a demonstration. We got a school hallway and we have the lights at the end of the hallway going down the flat hallway. And we see a nice line like that. And then compare it to what we see in the water. It looks the same. But when we do a little experiment, we bend something, it gives us a pinpoint of light, like a ball would show. Anything that has curvature, you would not have that line. And then let me jump forward a little bit. And on a ball, we have a pinpoint. So that's what we would see if the water was bent. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. The other thing is they've trained you to think flat Earth is something stupid like this, a disc floating in space. You Google flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society, which is a government-run disinformation site. They'll feed that to you because they want you to go there. They want you to think that this is flat Earth, that flat Earth is rising up through space and And that's what causes gravity, and it's a disk. Nobody believes that. This is two false models. This is a false flat Earth model. Look, the flat Earth there. How come all the other planets aren't flat? That's what we get a lot. And a false heliocentric model. That's your model, the globe model. Okay. So no flat earther thinks that this is what flat Earth is. It's just people have been programmed to think that's what flat earthers think. And whenever a big news station mentions flat Earth, and they mention it a lot, they show you this because they want you to think that's what flat Earth is, and that's not what flat Earth is. Okay. So first thing is you have to understand what your model is. Here's your model, that you're on a ball, a scientifically impossible ball, a rock surrounded by water, surrounded by air, adjacent to a void, a vacuum of no pressure. That breaks the laws of thermodynamics. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. Okay. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That's the rotation of the Earth at the equator, 1,000 miles an hour. And then we're orbiting around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. And we're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour, flying through space, traveling billions and trillions of miles in 4 different directions at once every year. And somehow, if you guys go out tonight, take a picture of the stars from your backyard, and then put a note in your calendar to take that same picture next year, same time, or in 10 years, same time, same day. Every single star will be in the exact same position, even though we've traveled hundreds of trillions of miles of where we were when you took that picture, a year or more ago. Just to give you an idea how fast these speeds are, this is the hypersonic sled track. You can look it up on YouTube, hypersonic sled track. You'll get the same video, and it goes by at Mach 8.6. That's 8.6 times the speed of sound. 8.6 times the speed of sound. You can't even fathom this, let alone twice that speed. Okay. And you have to believe, if you live on a heliocentric ball, you have to believe that you're going 10 times faster than that around the sun. That's the orbit. And it's speeding up and slowing down as it gets closer and farther from the sun, allegedly. And it's also chasing the sun at 100 times faster than that. That's nonsense. When you go out in nature and see something like this, what does this tell you? Your common sense, your God-given senses tell you this is stationary. This is not moving. This water is contained by the shoreline of that lake. Okay. So they tell us that Antarctica is a ball at the bottom of the Earth. Not a ball, a continent at the bottom of the Earth. About they say 11, 12,000 miles around, maybe 13,000. Let's just say it's 13,000. Every explorer that's tried to sail around Antarctica, and the last one was Captain Cook, it took him 3.5 years, and he clocked over 68,000 miles. 68,000 miles. The equator is only about 24,000 miles. That's the biggest circle you can make, but he almost went 3 times that going around this little thing. So how can that be? How can that be? What would cause such a discrepancy, right? And when we look at aerial photos, supposedly satellites, that's another discussion for another day. Every one of Antarctica is a cartoon. There's no real photos of Antarctica. So how does the flat Earth work? Well, we're like a pond. A pond needs containment. Water needs containment. It needs something higher than the level of the water. Well, guess what the highest land on Earth is? They don't teach you this in school. Antarctica. It's the highest plateau on Earth. Antarctica is the shoreline of our world pond. It contains the world oceans. Okay. And so at the center of the Earth is the North Pole. South is every direction away from the center. If north is the center and you put your back to north, no matter where you are, if you're walking away from the center, you're walking south, and eventually you'll get here. They tell you it's a continent at the bottom of the ball, but it's the shoreline of our world. And guess what? No one is allowed to independently explore beyond 60 degrees south, this pink line, which you can't even, that's 1,000 miles or more from Antarctica, right? You're not allowed to go there unless you pay $20, $30, $50,000. You go on a guided tour. They take you to this little peninsula, which is bigger than many countries. They show you some ice and some penguins, and that's it. And they kick you out. No one's allowed to explore, ready for this, the outer space. What's out there? What's out there? Okay. So this is just a photo of the shoreline of Antarctica, right? They want you to believe, oh, flat Earth, this is what you're going to fall off the edge of the Earth. Nope. This is just the shoreline. Boats go there. This is the plateau, and it's the container of our water. Think of it like the tub in a bathtub. We get rid of the bathtub and all the water is going to go away. So this map, I doubt you'll find it in your library. was in every library, in every encyclopedia. It was the most used map all over, all the way up until 1959, I think. And then they removed it. It's called the Gleason's map. This is the map of our world. This is what pilots use. This is what's used for navigation. Okay. So, you know, I'm gonna do something different. So I want you to use your logical minds here, and I'm gonna try to finish this up in 10 minutes. How much time do we have? We have 20 minutes, right?
25 more minutes. Yeah.
25 minutes. Okay. So you got your ball. Ignore the spots that are green because you can see through them. You got your north on the top, and you got your south on the bottom, and you got your equator going around the middle. Okay. So there's airports all over the place. Any northern airport, think about this. Here's a question, and you guys can yell out the answer if you want. If you're going from any northern airport to any other northern airport, so all those airports would be above the equator, would there be any reason for that flight to go south of the equator? I'll just save time. The answer is, of course not. Why would it go south of the equator? Because that's not the shortest line, right? And that is absolutely true, because no northern airport to another northern airport flight ever goes below the equator. So the same should be true for a southern flight. A southern airport to another southern airport should never go north of the equator. But if you look at the map, North Pole in the center, the equator is about here. It's a circle equidistant around. So everything outside of that is the south. Everything inside of it's the north. So northern airports, no matter where you go, you would never go below the equator. That's on a flat map, and that's the same on a globe. Problem is, when you're talking about south, when you try to go from a southern location to another southern location, these flight routes are insane. This one from Durban, South Africa to Sydney, it goes all the way up to Japan. Oh, no, to Dubai. I'm sorry, Dubai, and all the way back down. That's what it looks like on the globe. Why didn't they just fly across here? The answer is because this is the path. This is the flight path, right? And there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of these. They all show these crazy routes. Why didn't they cross here, right? Why did they go up here and over, right? Why did they go all the way up, all the way down? Because it's a straight line here, right? So southern flights actually prove the Earth is flat, right? And they make absolutely no sense. And then, you know, the argument is, well, they have to go there for other airports, or pick, you know, they'll drop off pilots. It's their hub. It's, you know, whatever. But there's that's just an excuse. And there's a thing called emergency landings. When someone dies, has a heart attack, having a baby, they have to land the plane immediately. So here's a flight. I'm going to show you one, and then we're going to move on. It's going from Hong Kong. It was going all the way to the UK, but it emergency stopped 12 hours into the flight in Germany, because 4 hours into the flight, a mother died in her seat, dead. She's with her little children, with her husband, right? And they couldn't land for 8 more hours. Okay. You can't even fathom what that would be like. Think about the husband, about the children sitting next to the mother. Why didn't the pilot land? And here's why. Because if you look at it on a flat Earth map, they were over Russia the whole time, right? And if they landed in Russia, that could spark peace if Russia was very helpful. And we can't have that in today's political climate. And the other thing is, people like me and others would say, why were you over Russia? Why did you land in Russia? And again, another straight line. All right. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to go to one more thing about how does the sun set, because that's always a big one. I'm sure someone has that question. So if you understand, in art class, I don't know if they teach it anymore, but about perspective. Everything goes down from the top and to the bottom and meets at your eye level. Everything comes in from the side. That's how we see. That's not a theory. It's called the perspective grid. So this guy's eyesight is at that's his horizon. Okay. So I throw a mountain in front of him, and now we know that this mountain is thousands of feet over his head, right? So you draw a line from his eyes to the sun, and it's going way up. Now the sun starts moving away, not down. It's just going away due to its perspective. And now we know, we'll back up a little bit, that sun isn't below the horizon. It's just beyond the mountain. Think about it, beyond the mountain, right? If he got up higher, if he got up in a drone or a helicopter or whatever, he'd be able to see the sun again. So now let's move that mountain farther away from him, down the perspective grid. And we move it way, way down. And when it's down, you can now see farther side to side. So we'll add in the sides, right? Fill in the foreground. And now you can see the sun because that mountain has gone down. So the sun continues to go away. It's going farther. It's not going down below a horizon. If you drew a line from his eyes to the top of that mountain, from his point of view, that looks like it's level to the ground, a horizontal line. But in reality, it's sloping upwards. So it's sloping upwards. The sun is going downwards, right? The sun is going away, and in his perspective, it's going down. And when it passes that line, it gets eclipsed, okay? But he sees that line like this. He sees it level, right? And it's just going beyond. So we'll add some clouds. Now we have a cloud deck doing the same thing, okay? The clouds are all jamming up and getting compressed into this optical horizon, which is thousands of feet above his head. The sun just goes away. It's above the clouds. Even if there weren't mountains there, it would go beyond the atmospheric deck. Even if there was no clouds, over a couple hundred miles, the atmosphere becomes opaque. It's like trying to look through across an Olympic-sized swimming pool. You can't see the other end, even though the water's clear, because it just becomes opaque. Air is just like water. It's just a little thinner. Okay. And so that's how that happens. Because we only have 15 minutes, tell me, let's go to questions, or I can show you. Oh, let me show you one more thing, because this is a question. This is why I think the earth is flat. Okay. If you live on a ball, okay, there's a thing called curvature. My mouth is behind the curvature. You could zoom in and you won't be able to see my mouth because it's behind a physical curvature. The ball, the globe, requires a physical curvature. Now, everyone goes, well, the earth is so big, you don't understand how big it is. Well, what they tell us is using globe math, according to the size of the globe, 24,901 miles around at the equator, at just 3 miles, there should be a 6-foot drop in curvature. That's according to globe math. That's not a theory. That's not flat earth. That's according to the globe. So that means if you're standing next to the edge on perfectly calm water on a perfectly clear day, your physical horizon on a globe is 3 miles away, just 3 miles. You should never be able to see anything on the surface of the water beyond 3 miles, and it exponentially drops over that curve. So that's your physical horizon at 3 miles, right? And farther, at 10 miles, it's 66 feet. At 100 miles, it's over 6,000 feet. That's over a mile, okay, of curvature. The problem is at sea level, at ground, the air is thick. It becomes opaque. Things become distorted. But at the top of a mountain, the air is clear and it's thinner and you can see farther, okay? So here is a shot of from a mountaintop. We have 7 mountains here. There's 7. Where'd they go? There's 7 mountaintops. Whoops. Sorry, going back. There we go. 7 mountaintops. At this distance, they're over 700 miles away. The tops of those mountains should be behind more than 40 miles of physical curvature. We can still see them. So that means it's flat? No. It means that the earth is either flat or 10,000 times bigger than they tell us, which means, well, how many continents are there? Maybe there's 8,000 continents, right? Earth is scientifically provably flat. People dying for questions, or I can continue. Tell me.
Let's open it up here. Start us off.
If you say the Earth is surrounded by Antarctica, what are your thoughts on climate change and ice melting? What would happen if ice in Antarctica were to melt?
So the whole thing about climate change, the climate does change. We're in a cycle, and to believe in man-made, we should not pollute, and we should take care of our environment. But that's not what's causing climate change. There's a thing that I've been screaming about for over 20 years called atmospheric the spraying of our atmosphere. Some people know it as chemtrails, okay? And I've been called a crazy conspiracy theorist because of it, but now Harvard admits that they're doing it. The president admits that they're doing it. Bill Gates admits that they're doing it, that they're spraying stuff in the sky. So why don't you guys to go out when it's a beautiful blue sky day, and then look up and watch when they start spraying these big long lines that they tell us are just contrails. And those lines spread out and they whiten out your sky. And if you want to talk about climate change, you have to address the elephant in the room. And that's the atmospheric spraying of our sky with aluminum, strontium, barium, and other things. So there's my view on climate change.
So just to clarify, so you're saying that the atmosphere is being manipulated by the government?
Yeah, write this down, people. Geoengineeringwatch.org. Okay, and there's the one of the main videos on there is called The Dimming, and it's a documentary on how on the patents and how they're doing it and when they're doing it and the planes that are doing it and whistleblowers. It's not a theory, but the problem is because it's not on CNN or Fox News, people just won't believe it. So it's not about believing, it's about understanding and knowing. They're not going to feed you this information, but it's out there for you to find it, but the Google's not going to serve it to you. Just like flat earth. You Google flat earth, you're going to find all these anti-flat earthers, right? You search my name, Flat Earth David Weiss, Flat Earth Horizon Proof, Flat Earth Sunset, and you're going to get the same videos every time. They're not there. You can even search for specific videos by name and they won't come up, right? That's why I developed this app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And in it are I have a frequently asked questions page, and it has all the questions you're going to ask, and all the videos in there will answer you. So, why is Google hiding it? The fact that Google's hiding it should make you very curious. Why does it matter? And make sure we have enough time for why it matters at the end.
Yeah, I was like, why would the government try to hide?
There it is. There it is. So here's the thing. We're not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south, right? So that's that line I showed you before. We're not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south. Imagine if you lived in America, okay? Imagine you lived in America and you weren't allowed to go beyond 200 miles offshore, and then there was military out there that would stop you from going out. And so all you know, and there's no radio, no television, no internet, and so all you know is America, in Canada, and it's a big wall up in Mexico, and so you don't know anything beyond there, right? And you think that's your whole world, right? Then you don't know about Europe and Africa and Brazil, you don't know about South America, you don't know about Australia, you don't know about any of these places. And so you have just been put in what I call a heliocentric prison, okay? You've been in a heliocentric prison. So they take the flat map that I showed you and they wrap it around a sphere, okay? They wrap it around a sphere and they say, this is where you live and you're not allowed to explore down here. This is off limits. Right? We can't go down there because we have to protect the ice and we have to protect the penguins. But you can deforest the Amazon, the lungs of our world. You can do all these other horrible things, but you can't go and independently explore down here because that's not down south. It's out south. Why are all the largest telescopes in the world in the south pointing south? They're not pointing up. They're pointing out across the plane. They're all pointing south, and they're all as far south as they're allowed to go. What are they looking for? So why the lie? If you're, if there's tyranny going on in the world, just imagine that there's tyranny, and you find out, hey, there's 8,000 other continents that I could go to. You might just want to leave, right? There's a book called Iron Republic. It's in the book section on the app. You can also go on YouTube and search the Iron Republic. The guy read it for you, and it's about in the 1800s, a politician got fed up. And he bought a ship and went to Antarctica and he found an opening in Antarctica and he ended up being lost at sea for months. And then they found land and they found an advanced civilization. This is in the 1800s, flat screen TVs, flat screens all over the place, flying electric cars. Everything was amazing. Lived there for 10 years, came back, and then he wrote some stories about it in Florida Magazine, which you can't find a single copy of anymore. And that was in 1800. Whether it's true or not, it rings true to me. They were talking about more land beyond Antarctica in 1800s. Every civilization before us talked about a flat, non-rotating Earth. So this is every culture before us. The only one, NASA. They're the only ones that talk about a sphere Earth. Okay. So why the next question's coming up? Why would they lie? Because it depowers you. It puts you in a heliocentric universe, flying through infinite space where an asteroid could take you out. We're running out of water, running out of food. We're overpopulated, right? That's not true. Every family in the world could have an acre in Australia, and half of Australia would be empty, and the rest of the world would be empty. Every family in America could have a half an acre in Texas, and the rest of America would be empty. Okay. So they tell you about overpopulation. They tell you there's 8 point something billion people. I don't believe that number. I think it's less than half, right? They're lying about every single thing. And the problem is you have to go against everything you've been taught to look into this stuff. And it's hard because people have egos and people like, oh, it's too much. I'm going to get too much ridicule. You know, if I tell someone the earth is flat, they're going to go, no, it's not, you know, because you'd be pulled towards the center by gravity. And there's a whole section on gravity in here and what it is and how it works. It's not, you know, the gravitational model is scientifically provably incorrect.
We have about 9 minutes left here. Other questions?
How do you feel like being called a conspiracy theorist? Like, do you feel like there's like a negative connotation to it?
Well, sure. I mean, you know, I have a pretty thick skin, but a conspiracy theorist, that, you know, if you break down the word, a conspiracy, two or more people gaining, you know, working together for their own private interest. Well, think about every single person in politics and every single person that works for any company. That's all they do. You know, David and I had a conspiracy to put this class together and try to give you guys some things to think about. That's literally technically a conspiracy. And then when you say theorist, you know, well, the people that believe in the globe, they're the theorists. They have no proof of the globe. I offer 3 Bitcoins and you guys can have them. 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. But you have to check the frequently asked questions and not waste my time because all of your questions are answered there. 3 Bitcoins, 1 globe proof. No scientist, no professor, nobody has been able to come up with one legitimate thing. Okay. And it all goes to in 1959. Admiral Byrd did a trip to Antarctica, and it's called Project High Jump. And that's when he said, beyond the South Pole, that's a problem because that would be like where Australia is. There's a land bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever set eyes upon. Okay. And then literally the next year, every country in the world started signing the Antarctic Treaty. And they said, hey, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon, a place that you can't go to. Okay. The moon isn't what you think it is. And they celebrated him and then literally pointed up to the sky and said, we're going to the moon. All right. And NASA kind of took over the world with that. So I forgot where I was going with that, but I think I made my point.
Other questions?
Right.
For Dave. While folks are formulating questions here, so it sounds like you're very skeptical about NASA. Do you feel that they deserve a lot more scrutiny than they perhaps have received otherwise?
Oh my God, when there's a whole moon missions nonsense. I mean, it is provable that NASA has never sent anybody into space, and that's a big lie. There's a lot of national pride and everything. Do you guys know that yesterday, India supposedly landed on the moon? Did they even publicize that?
I think I heard something about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the images from that they showed us. I mean, it's unbelievable. This is them flying by the moon. Okay. Right. This is what they showed us. Here's the landing. Okay. Here's the prime minister or the head of India. And they're showing us this. Okay. And again, this is what they showed us, guys. You don't even remember when graphics and games were this bad. Okay. That was long before your time. This is the live footage that they showed us that everybody was cheering to. I know it's hard to believe. Just go look up India moon landing. They're all clapping because they're watching that cartoon. Okay. It's amazing. On the app, just go to moon landing nonsense, ISS nonsense. The ISS, again, we don't have enough time to get into it, but the ISS is not something in space. Yes, you can see a light go by, but it's scientifically provable that light isn't what it is. If anyone has an ISS tracker and you see it, it's brighter than an airplane in the sun. It goes by really fast, but you have to believe that thing's about the size of a jumbo jet, but it's 200 times farther away, and we could still see it. You can't see a jumbo jet at twice cruising altitude, let alone 200 times cruising altitude. Okay. So once, good.
Dave, so what you're suggesting then that outer space travel, and I say that meaning like exploration of the moon and beyond in the solar system, is really kind of a distraction. It really is kind of a way of distracting attention from more reality-based kind of exploration, like in Antarctica.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we had time, I would show you. There's actual evidence that there's boats that go south, big ships, and we can find them 1,000 miles inside the shoreline of Antarctica. What does that mean? Well, 1,000 miles inside the shoreline of Antarctica is out here. Okay. Maybe there's trade routes to other lands out here. Okay. These are where the other worlds are. Extra land, extra territory, extra terra, extraterrestrials come from the outer space right here on Earth. This is scientifically possible. Now, we don't know what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. We want the right to know. Did you guys know that there used to be airships, like blimps, what we know as blimps, bigger than cruise ships, multiple floors inside of them, elevators, dining halls, accommodations, thousands of people on them, and they flew all over the Earth in the 1800s and before, right? But we're taught that it was horse and buggies and everything. The whole Wild West is partially true, but mostly a lie, because the cities were already here. They were founded when something happened. There was a reset. People repopulated these incredible empires that were here, and they made do with what they had. And it's in every city. You can find stuff on it. It's called the mud flood. And if you research that, there's you guys are probably on Instagram, look up I'm the Improbable Dreamer, all one words. I'm the Improbable Dreamer. But on my app, in the homeschool section, there's stuff on our lost history. It'll blow your minds.
Yeah, about 3 minutes, Keith. So if there are any questions before we say goodbye.
Before the bell rings, just real quick, if you want to take the time and learn some more, you don't even have to get my app. Go to flatearthdave.com, scroll down. There's a thing called the Crash Course, and it's a list of documentaries that are great. They're actually very entertaining. Believe them or not, don't believe anything. Watch them, and then you'll start thinking. Then your mind will go, I never thought of it that way. Here's the thing. There's millions of people that are becoming flat earthers. On my app, I have a thing called the Friend Finder. Just my app, which covers, I think, a fraction of 1% of the flat earthers on Earth, shows you how fast this is growing. And once you become a flat earther, you really kind of beat yourself up. You go, why did I ever believe the globe? Right. So here we are. These are the people that just have the app, that are using it. They're getting together. You can actually contact people on the app, all sorts of stuff. So if anyone gets the app, by the way, the app's $3, but I can give you, there's a subscription if you want to be able to interact with people and have conversations and make video calls and all sorts of stuff. That's for free. I'll give that to you. Just let the teacher know that let David know that you've got it. And then I'll give you guys a code to unlock the subscription.
One last question here before we wrap up. So do you feel that flat Earth ideas are being deliberately rejected in schools, that they should be taught, but they're being deliberately kind of ignored?
100%. They teach you the globe model when there's no proof of the globe model. Everything on the globe model is based off the radius of the Earth. And the way they came up with the radius of the Earth is someone theorized that Venus is the same size as Earth. And as it transited the sun, they measured it from the East Coast and the West Coast. The start and stop times were different. They did some really good calculus, and they figured out that the sun is 93 million miles away. Well, the problem is Venus is the same size as Earth. It's provable that Venus isn't in the orbit that they tell us. It's provable that Venus can't be a planet reflecting sunlight that far away. Venus could be the size of a basketball. I don't know. I can't go there. Venus might not even be a physical object. Who knows what these things are? Look up star in a jar, right? In the on the frequently asked questions page, hit stars, and then you'll find out what stars really are. And stars actually prove, when you actually do math and look at them and the inverse square law of light and everything, you could not see stars at the distances and sizes that they tell you. As there's a thing called the inverse square law. As light goes away, it spreads out and it gets dimmer and dimmer exponentially. But for some reason, we can still see all of these stars at the same levels and everything. Again,
Dave, we have to wrap it up.
Yep.
Because of the bell.
There you go.
We thank you for sharing with us. But we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
FlatEarthDave.com, guys.
Yeah, it was good. I think, well, I know it was a lot for the kids, but they were furiously writing down notes. So,
All right.
I'm sure some exploration that's taking place. We got about 5 minutes until the next class, and then we don't have to worry about fire drills or anything that was done. So
No problem. I'll go over some other proofs there, and then they can discuss them. And I'll try not to talk as fast.
all right, sounds good.
All right, give me a second. I'll be right back.
Dave, thank you for coming back. Got a good class here. Got a lot of folks, and what I'll do is just flip it around, give you a chance to introduce yourself. Well, I think we'll do what we did last class, just give you a chance to share, and then share a little bit about why you're so passionate about this issue here. So let me just flip you over, and when I do that, everybody wave and say hi.
Hey, everybody. So thanks for having me again. And guys, I'm gonna feed you with a fire hose. So just have your pencils ready. And I want you to think about this, because this is the most important topic that will ever come across your lives, whether you know it or not. And when you look into it, if you take the time, it's going to change your lives forever. So how did I get into flat Earth? I was investigating stuff like the Federal Reserve and the IRS, and looking into real big deceptions that were pulled over the earth. I had a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and people started sending me flat Earth stuff, saying, Dave, you got to look into flat Earth. And that's just one thing. I'm like, no, that's too stupid. No way. And I would ban them. If they send me twice, I would just ban them. You're not allowed to comment ever again. And then finally, I was forced to look, and I went in with a bad attitude. I went in to disprove flat Earth and prove the globe. I said, that's it. I'm just going to get rid of these knuckleheads. And only then is when you can really understand how deceptive the flat Earth model is. This map right here, this is the Gleason's map. It was in every library and every encyclopedia all the way up to 1959, where they removed it. It's hard to even find it. What is this? This is the map that they use today. They use it for everything. It's the UN logo. It's everywhere. It's one to use for navigation. Okay. North Pole's at the center. The equator is halfway between the center and the outside. And this shoreline of our world is Antarctica. It's the container of our water. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat, and they need containment, like a pond. Lower the end of a pond and the water will go away. So what's holding the water on our spinning globe, right? You have to believe that we're on a spinning globe, right? This is crazy. Crazy story, right? When reality show, whoops, where am I going here? Why didn't that go? Transform. There we go. So this is the balloon, 127,000 feet, right? Stationary level Earth below us. It should be spinning 1,000 miles an hour out from underneath us. This sun is 93 million miles away in the heliocentric model, but it lights up just a small area of the Earth, like it's close, like a light. Get a light, hold it near the floor, move it around, move it farther away. When it's close, it'll react like we're seeing here. So that's something very, very interesting, right? Real quick, when you think of flat Earth, you think of this. When you Google flat Earth, you get this. This is not flat Earth. This is what they want you to think flat Earth is. This is the dumbest thing ever. This is a fake flat Earth model in a fake heliocentric world. No flat Earther believes that. It's that's complete and total nonsense. This is, how come we're the only flat planet out there? And the thing is, once you understand what planets really are, they used to be called wandering stars, but now they're called planets. Plane-T, planet, piece of a plane, maybe a planete. Okay. So once you understand, okay, this is kind of weird, and CNN, I'm not CNN, Google is hiding any useful results. You Google flat Earth, my name, anything, flat Earth proof, you get the same pushed on what I call anti-flat Earth deception people, whether they're paid or possessed, I couldn't tell you. But they want that's what that'll get fed to you, right? Your model says you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So when I'm watching the sunset, sun's not going away, as it appears, as every sense tells me. I'm falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. I'm here and I'm falling over backwards, making the sun appear to set. Okay. That's crazy. All right. I'm orbiting around the sun 66,000 miles an hour. I'm chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. These are speeds that you can't even conceive of. Right. This is the hypersonic sled track. You can Google it. Okay. And it goes by at Mach 8.6. The sound is awesome. It literally rips your it goes by. It's like just watching it. It's shocking. You can't fathom. You don't have the ability to fathom what twice the speed is. Okay. But you have to believe, if you live in the heliocentric model, that this ball is orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that. It's chasing the sun 100 times faster than that. But when you go out in nature on a calm morning, you can see things like this. Okay. What does this tell you? This tells you that this is at rest. It is not moving. It's not spinning. It's not orbiting. It's not doing any of that stuff, right? The other problem you have is, I'm gonna use some big words, now I'm forgetting my words. Having high pressure next to no pressure or low pressure is scientifically impossible. It breaks the laws of thermodynamics. Okay. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure. Suck some air out of a bottle, put the cap on and put a cork in it. So now there's low pressure in there, not even a vacuum. Turn it upside down, any altitude, whatever, open it up. Whoosh, the air is going to violently fill it. Okay. How do we have a ball with air around it adjacent to a total vacuum of space, a violent vacuum? Because when you let air into a vacuum, it goes in violently, right? So how is that possible? And the only answer you have is gravity. So gravity is magically holding down the air, but air molecules are lighter than water, vapor molecules, but there's trillions of pounds of water floating in the sky. The gravity is holding down the air to the earth. It's spinning it with the earth. So the air that's up a couple of miles, that has to spin even faster just to keep up with the ground, because it has to make a bigger circle. When you actually think about this stuff, it makes no sense. Okay. So we talked about how perspective works and how the sun sets in the class previous, but on this one, I want to talk about gravity a little bit, because people say gravity is their God. Okay. So how does flat Earth work if there's gravity? Good. Now, if you Google gravity on YouTube, you're going to get Vsauce, where he says, well, if the Earth was flat, as farther away you got from the center, you'd have to start leaning forward. And by the time you got to the edge, you'd be standing upright on the edge because your feet would be being pulled towards the center. That's, again, a false binary, a straw man argument. Nobody believes that. And so I was talking about, clouds floating, right? So what makes what makes things go? So on a flat Earth, we say down is down for everybody. And the globers say that's crazy because this is down. Down is towards the center. So people are standing antipodal to each other on opposite sides of the Earth while you're spinning in a scientifically impossible space vacuum with no container to hold the air. It gets absolutely ridiculous. So here's a little experiment. We say that it's electrostatics. And that's something that we can prove. And I'm going to go over it real quick. Here's a balloon. There's a little air in it. It's not blown up. And it's just sagging down. Now, why isn't the gravity stretching that rubber out? Well, gravity's not that strong. It's just enough to pull it. It's not enough to stretch the rubber. However, if I put air in it, that air is strong enough to stretch the rubber. It's pushing in every direction. Poke a hole anywhere on that balloon, the air is going to fly out in that direction, regardless of gravity. So air pressure is stronger than gravity. That just defies the whole gravity holding on to the Earth, right? So if it's not gravity, what is it? I said electrostatics. So electrostatics is the Earth has a neutral or negative charge, and everything above the Earth is in a positive charge. These are measurable. As you go up higher, the voltage goes up by 1,000 volts every meter, I think, right? It's crazy when you actually look at it. So how can we test something like this, right? So the first thing is we say it's buoyancy and density. Here's a blimp floating in the air, above a ship floating on the water, above a submarine, below the water, okay? This is all buoyancy and density, but what causes the ground, right? So they don't want to teach you this. The sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode of the world battery. The salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge. This is a battery. If you take your chemistry class or science class, you'll learn about this. This is the world battery. We live in this electrical system. We are electrical beings. So how can we test this? Okay. So we had some leftover party balloons, and they're helium. And we tied them. We got just a little button on here. We taped on the end of this wire, and it's resting. It's neutrally buoyant a couple inches above the floor. Now, this wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator, and when we crank it up, we're going to add a positive charge to the button, and it just got down. It just got heavier. Why did it get heavier? It's got a stronger positive charge, which makes it heavier. The heavier elements have higher positive charges. Steel has a higher positive charge than sulfur or whatever. Okay. And so as you go down the periodic table, they're heavier because their charge is heavier. All right. So can we test the opposite of this? Well, here we have a tinfoil triangle, and we're going to put a negative charge into it. It goes up. Are we defying gravity, or are we defying electrostatics? Right? If we keep that charge in it, it stays up. It's floating. You can do this yourself. Look it up. Floating triangle, tinfoil triangle. You'll find it, and you can do this yourself. So are we defying gravity, or are we just using electrostatics for maybe some sort of propulsion? This just came out of MIT. It's called the silent drone, right? No moving parts, no noise, no nothing. It flies. They're just changing the electrostatics of it. So why are we defying gravity, or is it just flying due to electrostatics? Here's some guy in Russia built something also, same thing. He puts electric charge in it, and it floats up. Okay. So this is hidden technology. So when we get to why the lie, they're hiding technology. They're hiding free energy. They're hiding abundance. They're hiding food. They're hiding more land. They're hiding your true position in this world and your true power. They want you as mindless worker slaves for the corporations. That's what they're training you to do. This class with your teacher is teaching you to critically think, right? There's nothing you can't achieve in this life if you think about it. Okay. But if they teach you not to think, to memorize and regurgitate, you'll never live to your true potential. That's what the indoctrination system, which they call school, mostly teaches you. But you're lucky enough to have this teacher that's teaching you to critically think. Don't believe anything. Belief is the enemy of knowing. So that's the answer on gravity. One other thing, and this one is really easy, but it's also really hard because you weren't taught to think about things this way. Okay. So when an airplane flies, think of the word airplane, flies over the earth plane. Okay. This is the flight flying from Cleveland. It's flying, and during its trip, there's 500 miles of curvature. They should be going over the curve 500 miles, but it's looking kind of flat. Now, the argument could be, well, you don't notice it because you're slightly nosing down the whole way. No pilot noses down. You know, the SR-71 Blackbird, the spy plane, it goes like 2,300 miles an hour. It would have to drop 80 stories. That's almost 80 stories. That's crazy, right? That's almost as tall as the World Trade Towers were, every second, just to follow the curve. Otherwise, it would fly off into space. But they don't. They fly straight and level. Okay, so here we go. Oh, there's the Blackbird. It would have to. Every second it would drop that much. All right. So here's a question for you. So you're on a ball. You're on a plane. You're in the pilot, and you're looking out the window. And on your horizon, you see these stars. Okay, it's out in front of you. If you're looking straight, parallel across the ground, any stars that you see are on your horizon. Okay. Right? So then you fly halfway around the world. So you're flying over a curve. I know that looks crazy, but this is how your world works. And now what's in front of you are different stars. And the stars that you saw before are now over your head. Everybody can conceive that, right? Okay. They're over your head. So what happens here? Here's a flight that's going from, I believe it was Germany down to Brazil, over 4,000 miles, halfway over the curve. Okay. And we're watching these stars, and they should be processing upwards as you're diving over. These stars should be going up, but they actually go down a little bit. This is what Google Earth says you should see, that all these stars should be processing up. They should be going up, 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 up. As you're diving over, they should be going up. Okay. But reality shows you something else. This is what reality shows you. Now, the argument for this is, well, they're going with the spin of the Earth, and they were just following the spin of the Earth, so they weren't really moving. That's not true. But the pilots have filmed it in both directions. If that was true, in the other direction, the stars should be going twice as fast, because you're not canceling them, you're speeding them up. And it doesn't happen. It's the same in both directions. That is direct, undeniable evidence that we live on a flat plane. One more, and then I'm going to go to questions, because I love hearing your questions, because I've heard them all before. We see too far, right? This is a 700-mile observation from a mountaintop, okay? And we could see 8 different mountains over 700 miles away. According to the Earth curve calculator, because on a ball, there's a physical requirement to have a curvature at a set distance. From this altitude, from that distance, the tops of those mountains should be over 40 miles below the curve of the Earth. 40 miles. Okay? But we can see them all. We can see them all. And this is something you can go do yourself. Okay? We can see them all. And you know what mainstream science says about this? Nothing. They won't touch it because they can't. The only thing they can yell is refraction. But the airplane going over, the refraction's not, you can't say refraction, and you can't say wrong curvature calculator. You can't say anything. So those two alone together are no wiggling out of it. Earth is either thousands of times bigger than they tell us. That's a problem. Or it's flat, just as every sense in your body tells you. So the question you have to ask yourself is, why is Google hiding it? Why the lie? What difference does it make? I still have to go to school on Monday, okay? And the answer is, they want to limit your thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. You may have heard that before. You may have never heard that. Everything in your life is your fault, good or bad. It's your thoughts that bring in your reality. They don't want you to understand that. They don't want you to understand that nobody has rights over you. You have God-given rights, natural law, natural rights. No one can take them away from you, but they want you scared, alone in a resource dwindling world where global warming is going to get you, and they want you focused on a bunch of nonsense and not ever living to your true potential. What difference does it make? They're hiding technology, they're hiding free energy, they're hiding food, they're hiding land, they're hiding other civilizations, they're hiding your true divinity. Okay, whether you want to believe it or not, they're limiting you and putting you in a prison. And let me just show you real quick, and then we'll go to questions. This is so here we go. The question is, if we live here and this is the shoreline of Antarctica, we don't know what's out here. What's out here? What could that be? Right? Could there be extra territory, extra land? Right? Extra territory. Extra terra, extraterrestrials would come from the outer lands out here. So what if we just cut out the world, wrapped it around a sphere, and said, hey, you're not allowed to explore this little white island continent that we call Antarctica. You're not allowed to explore down here. We'll take you on a trip from Santiago to this little trip here. And guess where they take you? To an island called Deception Island or Rothschild Island. Okay. If you know anything about the Rothschilds or the word deception, why are they taking us to islands called that? They show you some penguins, they show you some ice, and they say no one's allowed to explore out here because out here isn't down on the ball. Out here is every direction away from the center, right? So what is this? This is called a prison for your mind. All right. This is the prison. If you think this is all that there is, there's nothing left to discover. Remember in the Truman Show? I want to be an explorer. There's nothing left to discover, Truman. It's all been discovered, right? You are an incredible, at the center of creation, powerful spiritual being, and they're trying to beat that out of you. All right. Might have been a little heavy. Let's go to questions.
Let me give folks here a moment just to write down, formulate questions, and as they're doing so, if you could elaborate a little bit more, when we look at the flat Earth map, Antarctica plays an important role. Could you elaborate a little bit more on why you feel that that's being undervalued or not being explored enough?
Right. So Antarctica, there's a in 1959, Admiral Byrd went out and Project High Jump. He said there's more land beyond the shoreline of Antarctica, and that's filled with resources. But somehow all these countries that are warring for resources and land and everything, they all agreed and signed a treaty that said nobody can go to Antarctica, and you can't even question the treaty until the year 2041. That's weird. Longest standing treaty in history for no apparent reason other than protect penguins and ice. You can't even question it, and every country in the world agrees. Every country in the world is on the same page. How is that possible? Unless maybe they're all in on this deception together. This is the deception that allows them to get away with all the other deceptions. Okay, so when you look at Antarctica, they have all these mountain ridges, and they're called Dome A, Dome B, Dome C. They're all named Dome something. Why are they naming the mountaintops domes, right? And people are, well, there's bases in Antarctica. Well, yeah, there's bases here, here, here. I actually don't know about these bases. I know about this one, and I know about this one. Okay. But nobody from this base cuts across the bottom and goes visit someone on this one because it's too far away. It's not across the bottom of a ball, right? Every direction away from the center is south. So these are all South Pole stations. Okay. But they're not anywhere near each other. And no, here's the thing. Circumnavigation, while you write this down, I'll do circumnavigation and then we'll take some questions. People say, well, people have gone around the world and circumnavigated the world. So here's how circumnavigation works. And you could do this experiment yourself. I got a map. I put a big, powerful magnet at the center, got a compass, and the needle's pointing towards the center. I'm trying to push that compass west. And I have to keep turning to maintain my west. West is a equidistant circle around a line of latitude, which are all of these circles. These are east and west circles. If I try to go east, I have to keep turning because the compass has to point towards the center to maintain east. Billions with a B of people have circumnavigated east and west. Now, what happens if I say, okay, I want to go west, but I'm not going to keep correcting to the north. So there's my line with the stick. And as soon as I start going, if I don't correct, I'm heading south. I'm already heading south. South is going away from the center. The center is north. My back is to north. I'm heading south. 0 people have circumnavigated south. Now you look it up, they're going to say, "Oh, Sir Ralph Fanu, this royal guy, he did it. Colin O'Brady did it." But when you actually look, they literally just went like over here, and then came back. No one crosses from Santiago to Australia, right? South. Now I'm going north. And as soon as I pass the north, I'm going south. Every straight line, no matter what direction you start, is south. Every straight line. Point in a direction, you're pointing south. Make that line long enough and straight, you'll end up in Antarctica. Antarctica is away from the center of our world, right? So a quick analogy. Imagine you're in Kansas and there's a lake. And it's 100 miles around, gigantic lake. Can't even see across it. Okay. And there's islands on it. And at the center of the center is a mountain, an island with a high mountain. And it's a big giant magnet. It's a neodymium mountain. Okay. And you're sailing around the lake. You can circumnavigate that lake and go east and west. And you go all the way around. And then one day you say, you know what? I want to go south. And you go away from the center. And all of a sudden you hit the shoreline of the lake. You can't fall off the flat earth. This is a mini flat earth. You step up onto the land. Now you start walking away. And you're a mile away, you can't even see the lake anymore. Okay. Right. And so this is a smaller scale model of what the earth is. So you keep walking. Let's say you go 5 miles and all of a sudden you come to another lake. You come to another lake. Right. What what could that be? Right? So that would be a whole nother world, right? What if, this is just a what if, okay? What if the world was set up like this, right? Where we live at the center of this lake. And these are other pieces of the plane, planets, if you will, ponds, here, just thousands of miles away and not ridiculous light years away. Right? They want you to believe that aliens are coming from outer space, right? Let's pretend that an advanced civilization lived on a planet near our closest star. Our closest star. That's 25 trillion miles away. That's the closest star, 4.5 light years, 25 trillion miles. If you were going a mile per second in a spaceship, no one's ever gone that fast. And you went for 1 trillion seconds, you're 1/25th of the way there because you've gone 1 trillion miles. You got to go 25 trillion. So you got to do it 24 more times. Here's a question for the class. How long is 1 trillion seconds? Anyone know? Yell it out and you win a Bitcoin if you guess it within a week.
5,000 days. 10,000 days.
Very close. Very close. 31,000 years. Okay. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. All right, let's get in a faster spaceship. We're going 100,000 miles an hour. Unfathomable, but we got a special spaceship. It's only going to take us 28,000 years to get to the closest star in scientifically impossible void vacuum space, right? All the other stars are magnitudes farther. So if you want to believe that an alien's coming that far through a vacuum, which is impossible, and crashing in Roswell, you can believe that all day, but you're just living in a fantasy world. When the truth is, if there are extraterrestrials visiting us, they're coming from lands. You know, this is a map that was found in a Buddhist temple, and it was from how long ago? That was a while ago. But let me. I'm going to go down one other rabbit hole, unless there's a ton of questions. But you're going to like this one, okay? Again, go ahead. What's that?
Yes, we do. We have some questions. So
all right,
is that all right if we?
Let's do the question.
If the Earth is flat, what's on the other side of the Earth?
So the deepest hole ever dug is called the Kora borehole, okay? And that was in Russia. America and the United States were working on it together. And they at 7.5, under 8 miles, they hit an impenetrable barrier. And so they were using ground penetrating radar all the way down, and they were wrong every step of the way. No more rocks, no more water. They hit rocks, they hit water. Okay. Then they hit something, and they tried for years to get through it, and they could not get through it. So put that into an analogy. If the Earth was a Macintosh apple with the thin skin, they drilled maybe a quarter of the way through that skin, maybe less. And they were wrong every step of the way. They hit an impenetrable barrier, but then all of a sudden they know what's 4,000 miles farther. Okay. This is a meme. This is pseudoscience. Nobody knows what's below 7.5 miles. But this is what we're in every textbook is put in as a fact, but they couldn't even tell you. And that's the deepest hole ever dug, and it's been closed up. So what's below? Nobody knows. So the way I look at it is the Earth is the foundation of the universe. I don't know what's below it. How could I possibly know? And how could you? How could anybody?
Okay, my next question is how can we look at other planets in our solar system? They look round, but if Earth is flat, it'd be the only flat planet in our solar system.
Yeah, so when you look up at planets, the only thing that you've ever seen, other than looking up yourself and seeing these lights in the sky, which when you do the math and you say, how could a dusty, dirty ball that they call Mars reflect sunlight so bright that it looks as bright as the sun, but just smaller? And when you look at Mars in the sky, it's really bright. It's like it's on fire. How is a dusty, dirty ball reflecting sunlight like that? It absolutely makes no sense. And when you look at the inverse square law, this is real quick. So this guy is projecting. You got this light projecting, and he has it at X distance away, and then he moves it twice that distance, and then it's spread out 4 times, 3 times the distance, it's 9 times. So it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Do that with Mars, and the brightness would have to be absolutely brighter than our sun to be able to see it. But nobody does the math. Nobody does the math, right? And then if you want to look at NASA shows you this is Jupiter, and then hold on, here we go. This is a painting, right? This is what they're showing us is Jupiter, okay? And so let me show you a couple more. Jupiter again. They're just showing us images, right? Who took this picture? Okay, is that a ceiling fan? Okay, right? They're showing you cartoons and telling you that they're planets. Why does everything look round? I'm going to show you why everything looks round. Why planets appear to be round is because it's the way our eyes works. The way our eyes work. So the way we see things in the sky is we see them in our azimuthal grid of vision. I have a sheet hanging here. I got a square flashlight 10 feet behind it, but it looks kind of round. Okay. Right. And I have pages off to the left of me, and it literally looks like a sun. And she sees it here while I see it over here at the same time. So again, everything comes to our vision in our azimuthal grid of vision. Right. And once you understand, what planets are, planets used to be called wandering stars. Hold it with my stars. And when you look at them, when you look at them through today's optics, they don't look like what we're supposed to, what they tell us. Matter of fact, here is the star Sirius. All right. When you zoom in on it and slow it down, what is that? Is that a giant burning ball of gas hundreds of trillions of miles away, which is unfathomable, right? Right. When you look at, this is one Arcturus that you can see with your naked eye. What is that? Okay. We're fed stories by, heroes, deceivers named Elon Musk and others, when it's scientifically provable that they're not putting anybody into space. If you actually go and look, I don't know if we have time to watch one of Elon's rocket launches, but I could show you. It's absolutely fake. NASA is the largest consumer and owner of helium companies in the world. Why are they doing that? On my app, there's a rockets are balloons section. Watch that. It'll blow your mind. Blow your mind.
I was gonna ask, like, who is they? Like, you keep saying they're hiding like technology from us. Like, who is they?
Yeah. So when I say they, these are the rulers of our world, but the rulers that we see, I think that they're just the puppets of the real puppet masters who live probably south of Antarctica, because there's world leaders all the time, including, John Kerry on the day of the election last time. And all these world leaders, they go to Antarctica, they disappear for 3 days, then they come back to the station, and then they go home. What are they doing down there? Are they getting their orders? Right. But when you say who are they, Club of Rome, the United Nations, these are the Bilderberg Group. These are the unelected, corporations that run our world. You think that, we're voting for a president. Presidents have no power. They're all run by these corporations, by these entities. And, you got the royal family and the Rothschilds and, there's all of them are making decisions for us. They're unelected, right? They're unelected. They're the ones that are dictating all the rules. So there's the they. The thing is, I offer 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. We put it out to scientists, teachers, professors, everybody. Nobody can come up with one. When you look at things, you say they fit into 3 baskets. Works on a flat earth only, works on a flat earth and a globe earth, and works only on a globe earth. Nothing ever goes into that 3rd basket. That's a problem. Okay. And when you understand the implications on your life of believing that you live on this ball, you're limiting your thoughts. You're limiting your ability to manifest. You're limiting your understanding of what this world is. And I'm sure you're taught in school, the world is overpopulated. I don't know if you looked around, you fly across America, there's nothing. There's nothing there. Every family in America could have a half an acre in Texas, and the rest of America would be empty. Okay. Every family in the world could have an acre in Australia, and the rest of the world would be empty. Okay. And that's if you believe the population number of 8 or 9 billion people. I don't believe that number. I think they're lying.
You have a question?
Yeah. Why wouldn't people just take a plane and fly? like into Antarctica.
Well, the problem is you're not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south. You'll be stopped by force, and it happens all the time. They've also have us, in airplanes. Airplanes need fuel, and when you fly out to Antarctica, where are you going to get fuel? There's no place to land, no place to get fuel, no place. So you can't. You actually can't, and they will not let you. They will shoot you out of the sky. There was someone tested it and tried to fly past 60 degrees south, and they were intercepted by fighter jets. If you look, the Antarctic Treaty doesn't allow anybody to go south of 60 degrees. And people say, well, how could they guard that if the Earth is so big? How would they stop it? And what they do is they have bases all run by the Crown all the way around. Okay. And these are bases, military bases. And then in between, these are vast distances. There's a network of radar buoys that can track waves and radar. It basically, they'll know anybody that crosses this line, and then they intercept them. We had a fishing boat tried to do it, and they were intercepted and turned around. A couple of explorers got permission from their country. They were turned around, sent home, and put in jail. Okay. It's called the Antarctic Treaty. On this app, if all of the videos on this app are hidden from you on YouTube, you won't find any of them. You Google flat Earth, they're going to feed you a bunch of garbage. But on the Antarctica section, there's a video called "Sorry, Antarctica's Closed," and one of our lawyer researchers went in and showed you that it'll cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to apply for a permit. They'll turn you down, and they keep your money. Nobody can independently explore Antarctica. That's a problem. We want the right to go explore.
You said that, they're keeping us from our spirituality. So do you know, have you unlocked your spirituality because you know?
Well, here's the thing. It's we're here growing all the time, and I don't think we'll ever figure everything out. But it has shown me that we live at the center of creation. That's huge for me. I was a full on atheist, I guess you could say, because I believed in evolution. I believed in a bunch of nonsense. But then I realized, wow, this world is intelligently designed, and all of our history is a lie. When you look at the incredible things that were built years ago, not just the pyramids, way beyond the pyramids. You have to say, what was this place? How was it reset? Well, how come we're so far back in technology from what they had hundreds of years ago? And, you guys are probably going, wait a minute, we're at the top of civilization. We're the smartest we can. The smartest of all history. That's not true. We're literally in the middle of the movie Idiocracy. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It used to be a comedy, but now it's a documentary. But there was vast civilizations, worldwide civilizations before us. Again, on my app in the homeschool section, check out the History is a Lie section, and I'm the Improbable Dreamer. He's on Instagram. I'm the Improbable Dreamer, all one words. And watch that. But let me show you something real quick. This is I think this is worth showing. So this is a ship tracking website, and you can click on any ship and any cargo ship, and it'll tell you where that ship is in the world, right? And we found a ship 730 miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. Wait a minute, how did it get 730? How does an active ship get 730 miles in? And it's also 1.9 miles higher in elevation, according to the globe map. Okay, right? So that's impossible. Even if Antarctica was melting, how's it that high? Then we found another ship, 905 miles. That's almost halfway through Antarctica, supposedly. Okay, 2.37 miles higher than the elevation, right? So the question is, what's going on there? So I showed you this before. This is a map. It was found 10 centuries old. It was printed in a Hawaiian newspaper in 1910, I think. And it shows all of these extra continents. All right. So here is by the way, when we clicked on that one of the ships in the middle there, it'll tell you where the ships are coming from. When you click on any ship, it gives you all the information on the ship. But this one, all it said was it's the 800 meters long. It was a massive ship, bigger than any ship that I know of. And it says it was registered on the nation of Kiribati. Have you guys ever heard of Kiribati? I don't think so. I didn't. So where's Kiribati? Well, go on Google Earth. It's out here in the middle of nowhere. I had to put a pin on it because it's so small. It's literally a sandbar. Okay. And this giant ship is registered on Kiribati, right? And so what is going on here? All right. What is going on here? All right. And so why is that ship there? And the funny thing is, Kiribati has a bed and breakfast called the Captain Cook Hotel. Captain Cook is the guy that tried to circumnavigate Antarctica. He went 68,000 miles before he got back to where he was, which is a problem because the equator is only like 24,000 miles wide. All right. So strike two. You got all these shit. And then you have a whole bunch of ships in Kiribati. When we click on them, it's hard to see here, but they all say their destination. They always list their destination. Their destination is either Christmas Island or unknown. Christmas Island. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. Okay. So what are these ships doing here? And my answer is they're going to, there's a trade route. Okay. And that trade route, in my opinion, is outwards, out here to other lands. What are they trading? Maybe they're weapons. Maybe they're technology. Maybe they're trading tuna fish. Maybe they're trading humans. I don't know. But we want the right to explore the outer worlds. Why are all the other past civilizations talking about more land outside of our little circle? We've been put into a prison for your mind. All right, go ahead.
I had a question. So Antarctica is cold because it's far away from the equator. So wouldn't anything past Antarctica also be very cold?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So Antarctica, on the flat Earth model, we have a small local sun. Okay, we have a small local sun, but I believe, and again, we don't. Again, here's the thing: you don't need to go beyond Antarctica to prove the Earth is flat. We can test it and measure it here. We can prove it here without speculating. But there's so much information about more land beyond Antarctica. I like to go there and speculate. This is speculation, but here's a sun out here and there's another sun in here. You can't see it because it's close. Just like when you're looking at a street light above you and then 1 mile down the road, you can see them all going, but then they disappear. You can't see. Light doesn't travel forever, right? I have a video called The Sun Fade Out, where the sun just disappears into the thickness of the perfectly clear air. On the app, on the Where Does the Sun Go on the frequently asked questions page. Watch that, and it'll blow your mind. So the world could be set up like that, could be set up like this, right? My favorite is this, where we live in the center of this pond, and these are other ponds all across. These are all other worlds, pieces of the plane known as a planet. But again, you don't need to go here to prove the Earth is flat. It's scientifically impossible to be a spinning ball in a void, in a vacuum. It's just impossible.
We got about 3 minutes left here. Before I call Morgan and Ian, is there anybody who hasn't asked a question yet?
How come astronauts can't see the other land?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go in it. But all the astronauts, nobody's been to space. They're all either under MK Ultra mind control or they're just liars. If you watch the Apollo space, the Apollo return from the moon press conference, these guys look like they just were told that their dog died. They should be jumping up and down. They walked on the moon. They played golf. They rode dune buggies around. That's absolutely insane. But when you actually look at the evidence, I know it's hard to swallow, but it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And if you go look up, India just landed on the moon yesterday. Go watch the actual landing, and you'll see how bad it was. Astronauts Apollo 9, 11, and 12 took pictures of the Earth, and look, the clouds are the same on each one of them. Okay, so what does that tell you? Does that tell you that it's not real? Okay, of course it does.
So, real quick, so Dave, you're saying then that NASA and the space program really is a hoax?
1,000% hoax. And again, I wish we had the time, but I could prove it to you. I'm not just saying it, right? It's unbelievable. And there's last thing on my website, flatearthdave.com. Scroll down to the crash course. There's 3 videos there: level, the next level, and level with me. Watch them in reverse order. Actually, watch level with me first, and then you will learn. Then you will know. Watch those videos. And I guarantee you can't get through 3 videos on that list without rejecting the globe completely.
David, the bell's about to ring. We want to thank you for taking your time out to speak to us.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Ethan, Lori, you want to come up here before you leave? The bell's about to ring, but I know there's some students who have some questions, so I wanted them to be able to ask them before.
Sure.
So the others could be.
Sure. Bring it.
Hi.
Hey, and it's okay that you're late to your next class because they're going to teach you nothing good anyway. Go ahead.
I was wondering, why would they leave all this information so easily, like so readable?
Yeah, you know what? It's a great question. And there's a thing called revelation of the method. Because we live in this created world where we have free will, they're not allowed to completely deceive us. They always have to tell us the truth, right? So they always tell us what they're going to do. I don't know what you guys think about, 9/11, but they told us 9/11 was coming for a decade beforehand. Right? They always tell us what the truth is, and then it's up to us to have discernment to sort it out. For those that are willing to see with eyes to see, then they can see and they can avoid this. So this whole thing, it's all about discernment and revelation of the method. Look that up.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you for coming and speaking.
Yep. FlatEarthDave.com for more information.
All right. So, very good. We just have one class left, and already students cheering as they're coming in, so they're very excited to see you. If you want to take a little break, about 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and get started with the final class. All right. The kids are fired up. They are ready to hear from you. So, what we'll do is we'll just do the usual here. First, let me flip you around.
Can we want to go straight to questions or a quick flat?
I think the overview was helpful. I think that did generate some questions.
Okay.
Everybody say hi to Dave.
Hey guys.
Yeah. So, why don't you go and introduce yourself and say why this is an important issue, why in particular you are passionate about this.
Yeah, when you understand what flat Earth is, the normal path that people take is flat Earth is stupid, and then they go, "What about sunsets?" And we explain sunsets away due to perspective, and they say, "What about seasons?" And you show how seasons actually prove the Earth is a flat plane, and they finally throw up their hands. They go, what difference does it make? I still have to go to school. I still have to go to work on Monday. And the answer is they're hiding your true position in this world. They're hiding your true power, right? They don't, excuse me. They don't want you having, they don't want you reaching your full potential. And so that's hard to kind of take in because we're all good people, right? And it's hard to fathom the amount of evil in this world. The challenges that we're putting out there. So how did I come into flat Earth? I was, I had my own business. I was doing very well. And I was doing a little podcast for fun on the side about conspiracies. And people started saying, "Hey, Dave, you got to look into flat Earth." I immediately rejected it without, actually ever looking into it. And then I went and then I finally got tired of it. I said, I'm going to disprove it. I'm just going to disprove it. That's not the way you scientifically or, look at something. If you want to find the truth, you look for the truth. You don't try to disprove it. And only then do you find out that the globe model is absolutely insane and impossible, right? I'm in a balloon right now, 127,000 feet above the Earth. The sun is 93 million miles away in the heliocentric model, but somehow it's locally lighting up this area, right? Why is it brighter over there? Why doesn't it just light up everything? And every time we send a balloon up this high, though, the sun's never over us. It's always off to the side, right? It's always at almost that same level. So what is going on here? And the thing is, people have a false idea of what flat Earth is. When you Google flat Earth, they serve you this. Google doesn't want you finding the truth, right? This is ridiculous. This is a false flat Earth model and a false heliocentric model. Right? No flat earther thinks that we're a flat planet and the other planets are round. We don't believe in planets, right? Yes, you see lights in the sky, but that's all you can say about them is that they're lights in the sky because we don't know anything else. So in the heliocentric model, you have to believe this. You're on a ball with air around it, adjacent to a vacuum. That's impossible. Nowhere in nature or in a lab can you have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. So that's a problem. Problem number one, right? You're spinning, right? So when I'm watching the sunset, I'm here and I'm falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, which is making the sun appear to set. But when I look at the sun, it just looks like it's going away. And I'm orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, and I'm chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. Just to put those speeds into context, this is the hypersonic sled track. It goes by at Mach 8.6. Can't even see it. Watch it twice that speed. You can't fathom what twice that speed is, right? But in the heliocentric model, you have to believe we're going 10 times faster than that. That water ball with air around it in a vacuum is going around the sun 10 times faster than this. It's chasing the sun, ready for this? 100 times faster. Your mind should just short circuit at this point and go, well, I can't understand that. I can't fathom that. Therefore, I have to trust a guy in a bow tie who's a failed comedian to tell me what I should believe, right? So, but when you go out into nature, right? When you go out into nature, what do you see? You see stuff like this. What does that tell you, right? What does this tell you? What do your God-given common senses tell you? This isn't moving. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. Okay. If this was convex, you wouldn't see a perfect reflection. And how could we be on a spinning ball with that remaining perfectly still? Right. If you go look up on YouTube, earthquake, pool during earthquake, right? Lake during earthquake. It's crazy what happens. Okay. Right. And that's just a tiny little shaking of the earth. We're spinning, wobbling, and moving in 4 different directions at once at speeds that you can't even fathom. And you have to believe that we're doing that? No. Everything, all of your common senses tell you that we're on a flat stationary Earth. This map is called the Gleason's map. It was in every encyclopedia, every school, every library, until 1959 when they pulled it. Okay. And this one is what pilots still use. It's the logo for the UN. It's used all over the place. This is what we use for navigation. We don't use a globe. Okay. The globe model is absolutely insane on how incorrect it is. Right. Matter of fact, if you look at the model that we use for the globe is it's called what is it called? The Mercator map. And if I could find it, hold on, I can do it up here. Oh, here we go. There it is. So the Mercator map is this map. And they say the actual sizes are the darker colors, right? But they show it as these other colors, okay? The actual sizes. But when you take these actual sizes and put them on a flat Earth map, they match up, right? So the actual sizes match to our map, but not to your map, right? It's insane how people can't see the flat Earth. Once you understand it, but you've been programmed your entire life. Before you can talk, your parents probably put a mobile of the planets over your crib. You probably had NASA sheets if you were a guy, right? Sesame Street, all the shows that kids watch, the little kids, they all have astronauts on it. They're all about space. One of the first worksheets you bring home from school is the orbits of the sun and the moon and the Earth and a planet, okay? And why are they indoctrinating you into that? Because this is the lie that keeps you a slave. What? I'm not a slave. I get to vote for the left arm or the right arm of the same monster. Okay. They keep you de-educated. They keep you indoctrinated to teach you to work for their factories, to work for their corporations, because the corporations are the ones that rule the world. Right? You don't understand that, presidents don't have the power. They're run by the corporations. They're run by the royal family. They're run by these elite bloodlines that look at you as just workers. Rockefeller himself, who funds all of your textbooks, right? So you can only get textbooks that are made by the Rockefellers, basically, or approved by them, said, I don't need a civilization of thinkers. I need a civilization of workers. Okay. So why does flat Earth matter? Because flat Earth, if you don't know where you are, where your feet are planted on the ground, you'll never reach your full potential, right? You'll never understand the options that are out there. You'll never see what they're hiding from you. There's free energy. There's more land. There's probably other civilizations. There's all sorts of stuff right here on flat Earth. Okay. The heliocentric ball. Now, again, we don't know everything. Like what's underneath the flat Earth was asked in the last class. No one's ever dug deeper than 7.5 miles, period. So that's nothing. Right? That's like going through the skin, not even through the skin of an apple, and somehow you know what the core is. Okay. It's called pseudoscience. We flat earth, we get accused, oh, you're science deniers. No, we're science appliers, not deniers, appliers, right? The theoretical physics, which runs our world, that Michio Kaku himself said he doesn't know anybody in the field that uses the actual scientific method. Okay. So we actually use that to get our best answers. And again, we're always looking for something that'll prove us wrong. So on a ball, we should be able to see a certain distance, and then there should be physical curvature.
What's that model?
What was the model of?
He just had the screen moving.
Oh, the sun. Okay, why don't you complete the thought you had on the sunset?
Oh, the one I was just about to show, the flat Earth kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, so this shows you how the sun sets. Let me pull it back up. Flat Earth kitchen. Here we go. So I got my counter right here, and I have this level line, and I'm just running the line across it. Now I'm viewing this from a celestial, a raised and elevated point of view, same height as the sun, and it's going in a straight line. Right now, here, this could be a mountain, a city skyline, or it could just be the cloud deck, the atmospheric deck of opacity. I'm above it. I don't go below it. Now, I have a terrestrial camera on the other end of the counter filming this, and I'm going to show you what it looks like from a terrestrial, Earth-based point of view. Now, if I showed you this first, I would say, is this line level? And you would say, no, it's sloping down at about 45 degrees. And I'd say, is this sun going below this, whatever it is that appears to be at eye level? And you'd be like, yes, it is going below that. And if I zoom in, it looks like it's almost going straight down, but this is a level line. Okay. This is just going away due to perspective. There's no atmosphere in here. All right. Now here it is versus a real sunset. What's the sun going behind right here? Is that a mountain? Is that the atmospheric deck of opacity? But it's just going away, and it looks exactly the same. It looks exactly the same. So the sun goes away behind an apparent horizon, beyond the horizon. Okay. You know what? I think it's important to show what I showed before. So here is a guy looking out. His eyes are at the horizontal eye zone, the horizon. Okay. So we put in a perspective grid here, and we'll drop in a mountain. And we know that these clouds are still above the horizon, but they're just beyond the mountains. You can't see them because they're beyond the mountains. So we move the mountains into the distance down the grid, fill in the sides, fill in the foreground, and now we can see more of the clouds. But along the horizon, it literally become an opaque barrier. So now we'll add the sun, which is above them. The sun is going away. And as it goes away, it goes beyond that horizontal eye zone. It's still above the ground, but this line, which looks like it's at his eye level, is thousands of feet above his eye level. Okay. So if you drew a line from his eyes to the top of the mountain, it would be a line that slopes up. Okay. And then you have the sun going away. It looks like it's going down due to perspective, and it goes behind. But from his point of view, he sees it level, and he sees it go down. It looks like it's going below a physical horizon, but the horizon is provably optical. On a flat Earth, on a globe Earth, it would have to be physical.
Dave, one point that we lost you for a few moments, but I know you brought this up third period. Was that you said that gravity basically is overstated, that basically is used as a way to prop up around Earth. Could you just elaborate a little bit more what you mean by that?
So without the heliocentric model, gravity is without gravity, the entire thing falls apart. So they need gravity, but there's a thing called the three body problem. And you can take the world's best supercomputer and you can say, okay, I got three bodies and I put them in the computer simulation. And after a short period of time, they go into chaos mode and no supercomputer in the world can figure out what they're going to do next. Right? They can figure out what's going to happen in a couple seconds, but they can't. But we live in a solar system with all of our planets and all the moons and everything else, and it's in perfect order, even when they all line up. And so the gravity should be affecting each other. Nothing gets tugged out of place. Okay, that's impossible. Okay, they can't model three bodies. Okay, let alone just our solar system, which is like 100 bodies with all the moons that they say they have now. None of it makes sense. They tell us Jupiter has more gravity than all of the other planets combined. Okay, this is them laughing at you. Jupiter, they also tell us, is made of 99% helium and hydrogen. Helium and hydrogen defy gravity here on Earth. So gas violently fills the available space. At what point do you have enough gas where it collapses on itself and makes a planet and has gravity? Okay. This is where your mind short circuits. You go, I'm not smart enough to figure this out. A guy in a lab coat and a bow tie who's a failed comedian tells you, and that you just have to believe him. Okay. That's pseudoscience. This is unsolvable. Three bodies. Okay. The sky is a perfect clock, right? All the finest watches in the world are based on the sky clock. The sky is the only accurate clock. And if it was a gravitational model, none of this would make any sense. The sun goes around once a day, right? And no matter wherever it is, like if I called right now my friend in Sydney, I'd say, where's the sun? He'd go, well, it's a little low in the sky and it's noon, right? And because the sun migrates in between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer, that causes the seasons. It's warmer here in the summer because the sun is closer, period. Questions?
Yeah. All right. We do have some questions here. You start us off.
So you said earlier that you don't think that the planets are real. So do you believe in like stars?
So here's the thing. When you act, there's a thing called scale and size. They tell us that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, but it also has to be 400 times farther than the moon. And so coincidentally, they look like they're the same. They're the same size. Okay, that's a cool story. Okay, so 400 times bigger, 400 times farther makes things the same size. Okay, that's actually provable. That scaling and distance does work that way. So let's look at Polaris, the most important star in the sky. They tell us Polaris is 433 light years away. Okay, light years is the distance light travels in a year. Okay, and it's 1,186,000 miles a second. That's what they say. Ridiculous. So how can we scale that to the sun? Well, the sun, they tell us, is 8 light minutes away, or 93 million miles. 8 light minutes. So if we doubled the distance so if the sun was a mile over your head at noon, it would fill the entire sky, right? Because it's a giant yoga ball and you're on a BB, right? And it's a quarter of a millimeter above your head and it would fill the entire sky. Move it 93 million miles away, 8 light minutes away. It's now the size of a coin held at arm's length. Nickel, baby. Okay. Double that distance. It's now a quarter of that size, maybe the size of a pencil eraser. Double that distance. It's a 16th of the size. Now it's getting pretty small. Double it again. It's a 64th the size. It's basically the size of a star at that point, if you can still see it. Well, that's 8 times the distance. That's 1 light hour. At 1 light hour, our sun would be the size of a star. Well, they tell us our sun is small, a small star. Okay. Well, let's double it again. It's 2 light hours away. Okay, it's now a quarter of the size of a star. It's gonna become unseeable. I'll double it again 4 times, 8, 16, right? Double it to a point where it's a light day away. It's scientifically provable. So at a light hour away, it's scientifically provable that you can't see the sun. Well, they tell us Polaris is 48 times bigger than the sun. So let's make it 48 times farther away. We can't see the sun at a light day away. We can't see Polaris at 48 light days away. Let's round it up to 2 months. At 2 light months away, It's scientifically provable you could not see Polaris, and the brightness issue is another issue, but we'll just talk about the viewable size. You could not see it at 2 light months away. They tell us it's 433 light years away. Okay. Your mind just short circuited. You can't figure it out because you were never taught to deal with big numbers. Okay. 433 light years. 4 light years is 25 trillion miles. Okay. I haven't done the math on Polaris, trillions. I asked the other class, how long is 1 trillion seconds, just to show you how big 1 trillion is. And nobody knew. They guessed 50 days, 5 years. It's 31,000 years. 31,000 years is 1 trillion seconds, right? So all of these numbers, they have to make everything so big so you can't prove anything, right? So I showed you the 3-body problem. That's a problem. Our sky is a perfect clock. That's not a gravitational, random beehive buzzing universe, right? Once you understand what the heliocentric model is, here's the thing. Flat earthers know way more about the heliocentric model, because if globe earthers knew 1/10 of what we know about their model, they would be flat earthers, because their model is pseudoscience, provable pseudoscience. When you Google flat earth, you're not going to find anything. Go to flatearthdave.com, watch the videos there. Check out the app. You don't have to get the app. Watch them. There's countless videos there. Watch the crash course. And then, I have an offer on the crash course. Halfway down the website, it says crash course. It's a list of documentaries, really good, interesting stuff. Watch 3 of them. And if you can send me 1 globe proof, you win 3 Bitcoins. Okay.
Yeah, how would you explain, you said that how can water stand still if if the earth is flat, water would stand still. How would you explain currents and tides and, it's, I guess, proven that, the moon and gravity moves the ocean. How would you explain that?
You said something that you've been indoctrinated, that the tides have been proven to be done by the moon. On the frequently asked questions section on my app, there's a whole tide section, but that's not the case at all. During a full moon, there are higher tides. Okay, that's true, right? Why aren't there higher tides when there's a new moon, which is no light on the moon? Because the moon is still there. And in a gravitational model, it's not measuring how much light is on the moon. It's measuring the gravity of the moon. So why are the tides affected by the full moon more than the new moon, right? And this map I'm showing you here, there's this thing called tidal nodes. There's these tidal nodes all over the world that have no tide. And the low tide and the high tide circle around these tidal nodes, okay? Unrelated to the moon's gravity. Yes, the moon and the sun both have something to do with the tides, but it's an electric force. There's also unknown stuff on Earth where, personally, I believe that the north brings water in and exhales it out, if you will, twice a day, in and out, in and out. That's where we get our 4 tides, right? The gravitational model for tides is hysterical. Okay, so this is what they tell you the tides are, right? You got the full moon, and it pulls the water away from the earth here. And then when you ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, why is there another high tide on the other side of the earth at the same time, 12 hours away? And his answer is because the moon is pulling the earth away from the water. That is his official answer. Okay. If that sounds, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the R word, but I'll just call it the R word. It is. It's completely ridiculous. Ridiculous. That's the R word I'll use. Okay. So again, if my head was the moon, it's pulling the water away from the earth, and then it's pulling the earth away from the water. That's the official story. You want to believe that? You might be too deep to get out of the pool.
At the very beginning, you mentioned a lot about a they when talking about a lot about this indoctrination. Could you talk a little bit more about who you think they is?
So they are the royal families, the Council of Foreign Relations, the Club of Rome. These are the organizations, the unelected organizations, the self-appointed organizations around the world run by the elite families. From the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the royal family. These are the people that we see that are running the world. Now, if you look into our true history, there is a thing called a reset that happens. People think that it's every 5,000 or 10,000 years. I think it's like every 200 to 250 years. Okay. And the people that are running the world, they're the inheritors of this post-apocalyptic world that we live in. Again, lot to take in. But these are the ones that are running the world, but they have their puppet masters. I believe their puppet masters live beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. Can't prove it. We want the right to go explore. We don't need to speculate about more land, which I believe is the case, beyond Antarctica to prove the Earth is flat. We don't need to speculate about the lights in the sky that are scientifically provable and impossible to see from what they tell us, and how they're fixed in their position and they never change. To prove the Earth is flat. It's provably a level horizontal plane, and it provably matters.
I was wondering if you could furthermore explain like the seasons and like the way the sun kind of like moves.
Absolutely. Seasons are one of my favorite. So seasons actually prove the Earth is flat. Here's what's called the analemma. They've removed it from most globes. If you take a picture of the sun at noon every day, every week or whatever, it'll create this pattern. This is the northern loop, and this is the southern loop. So 6 months and then 6 months. Why is it smaller here and bigger there? And the answer is because on the flat Earth, the sun, when it's out over the Tropic of Capricorn, which is in the outer south, it has to make a bigger loop in 24 hours. So it's moving faster. And this is scientifically provable. And it's the only way the analemma can work. So here is the analemma seasons. Well, I can show you. Oh, yeah. So, no, I got a different way to show you because we don't have a lot of time. I just lost my sound. There you go. I'm back. If we go back to the app here, one question. Why do I have this up? So midnight for a person on the equator here is that way, midnight, and then noon is for this person. It's noon here and it's midnight here. 6 months later, midnight is that way and noon is that way. So a person sitting here can look up and see the stars. 6 months later, he's on the other side of the sun looking the opposite direction. He can see the same stars. Explain that in the heliocentric world. You can't. Okay. So as far as seasons is the best. Seasons is absolutely. Let me make this bigger for you. So the sun goes around once a day. You see the outer yellow line and then the inner yellow line. The outer one is the Tropic of Capricorn. I'll move the sun out there. And so in December, it's over the Tropic of Capricorn and it's closer to the outer south. So it's summertime there over middle of South America. And if you look forward, it's heading towards Australia. It goes right over Australia in December. They have their summer in December. The sun is higher in the sky because it goes right over them. Right? When you're standing under a streetlight, it's right over you, but the one a block down, that's lower in the sky. Okay. 6 months later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sun migrates into the Tropic of Cancer. And that's when we have our inner northern summer because it's closer. Here's a quick little experiment, and you guys could do this yourself. Two of you go outside in the middle of the winter. It's freezing, and you're sitting 20 feet apart, and you're both freezing to death. Okay. And then somebody get a nice big heat lamp on a 15-foot pole and hold it directly over one of the people. Okay. So you're holding it directly over one person and they feel the heat. They feel warm. They take off their coat. It's high above them. Right. But the other person goes, I can barely feel the heat over here. And it's not above me. It's lower in the sky. It's over there. Right now, that person walks over to me, bringing the heat lamp to me slowly. Takes them 6 months, and they keep it at the same height. And I'll watch it get higher and higher and higher, and I get warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer. And now it's above me. I'm hot. The other person's freezing. That's how seasons work, right? They want us. I wish I had a whole hour to talk about this. They want us to believe that if the camera is the sun, the reason we have the winter is because we're tilted away. Okay. But you have to understand that spinning is tilting also, right? I could spin and tilt away. So in the summer in the north, I can go out on the water, the sun will appear on the horizon, and I can feel the heat immediately. That's the most severe tilt it could possibly be. And in the heliocentric model, it's 3.5 million miles farther away during our summer. I don't know if you knew that. Okay. I can feel the heat. 6 months later, in December, I can go out at noon when the sun is at its highest point for the day, way higher than on the horizon, way up there. I could look at the sun. I can't even feel the heat here in Connecticut. It's freezing. This completely, when you understand it, debunks the globe. It is scientifically impossible. It's summer because the sun is closer. It's winter because the sun is farther. When it's farther, it's lower in the sky.
Okay, so you say that they want us to believe that the earth is round so they can control us, but why does that matter? Like, how does us believing that the earth is a globe, like, help them control us?
Well, if you understood that, the world, I don't know if you guys really notice what's going on in the world. I'm not sure how informed you are, but the world is in a bit of tyranny right now. And if you knew that there was not 8 or 9 continents or whatever they say, that there's 5,000 continents, other places to live, maybe you'd want to leave. If you understood that there's no such thing as that we're not running out of fuel, and actually that we don't need fuel, we don't need what they call fossil fuels, that there is free energy, that you can pull energy out of the ether. Anyone that has a drone, try this. Get a long spool of the thinnest copper wire you can, tie it to your drone and put the drone up as high as you can. Don't touch the wire. It's filled with electricity. There's free electricity everywhere. Okay. And they don't want us to understand that we have the free power. They don't want us to understand the technology, our true history, because if you are limited, living in fear, living in lack, willing to follow their orders, right? They're trying to push on us right now. It's called 15-minute cities. Look that up, guys. 15-minute cities. They don't want you traveling farther than 15 minutes away from where you live, right? That's control. But if you understood that all of that is nonsense, and we have the rights to travel anywhere we want in this realm, that opens up a lot of possibilities. So they want us, working for them. They want us following their orders. And, it matters more than you can even fathom, because if you can't think big, you can't create big. Your thoughts create your reality. And I know that, that some of you may be hearing that for the first time, but your thoughts actually create your world. Look at everything you have in your life. It's because of the way you and the people around you think, right? Everything that you have, good or bad. Here's the biggest conspiracy in the world. The universe, or this world, or this realm, is conspiring to bring you every single thing that you're thinking, good or bad. If you think it and put it out there, it is conspiring to deliver that to you. And it's how good you are at manifesting that determines how you do in your life. And if they can put you in this mind prison of this heliocentric world, they literally can control your mind. They take the Earth globe and they wrap it around a sphere. Where is it? There you go. So they take the Earth, they wrap it around a sphere, and they say, this is where you live. There's nothing else beyond. Don't you dare even think about exploring this ice down here. This is ice, right? Don't you even think about exploring that, right? This is all that there is. That's what they want you to think. So why the lie is the big one. On this app, where you can find it at flatearthdave.com, on the question mark page, there's why the lie. Amazing videos there. But on my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down to the crash course. Some of the why the lie stuff is in there. Watch the first 3 videos. Watch the 5th video, the 10th video. Watch them all. Turn off Netflix for a week, and your life will change forever.
Hasn't asked yet.
So you believe in gravity, but the earth is flat. You only believe gravity goes like this, and it's not like from all directions, it goes on like this.
I'll give you a quick rundown on gravity. Flat earthers say that, down is down in all directions, but, global earthers want you to believe down is opposite. directions. The thing is, they tell us, science tells us that gravity is an extremely weak force, and it's very, very weak. They also tell us that the electrostatic force, positives and negatives attracting to each other, are 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity. That's an unbelievable number. You can't even fathom what 10 to the 15th, which is a trillion. Okay, 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity. We can manipulate gravity with by changing the electrostatic charge of something. So we live in this giant battery system. The sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode. Salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge. That's a battery, right? Here I got some balloons, floating neutral. I got a little button on here, and it's just floating a couple inches above the floor. This wire goes to a Van der Graaf generator, and we're just going to change the electrostatic charge of this. The Earth has a negative charge. We put a positive charge, and it goes down. Okay. So did we just change the gravity, or did we just change the electric static charge? Okay. Buoyancy and density sort everything else out, but down is down because there's a flow of free energy. You can prove that with your drone, going down into the earth. During electrical storms, they can measure things fall at a different rate than they tell us. Right? When a lightning bolt happens, things go flying in the air because it's changing the electrostatic charge of the earth just for a split second, and it's repelling everything off the earth. It has nothing to do with gravity. Here it is putting a negative charge into something, it goes up because the earth is negative. We repel each other. Okay. It's staying up. We're not defying gravity. We're defying electrostatics. And here, MIT, their silent drone, no moving parts, and it flies just by changing the electrostatic charge. Now, if you want to believe in gravity, okay. Well, when something falls, the electrostatic charge is 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity. So how could you ever claim that it's gravity? How could gravity not be pulling this down? Okay. And the answer is because electrostatics run this world. Everything is electrostatic. Everything has an electrostatic charge. Everything, without exception.
So if the earth is flat, then do you believe in like the opposing poles, like the North and South Pole? And also, do you believe in magnetic fields?
Oh, magnetic fields are sure. We live inside a big giant toroid. Out of the center of the flat earth comes a toroidal field, and that's where our magnetic north is. Now, if the earth was a ball and with a molten magnetic core, well, that's impossible because you can't have a molten magnet. Look up the Curie point. Any magnet, heat it before it melts, it loses all its magnetism. But somehow they know it's below 7.5 miles, even though they can't get there, and it's a molten magnetic core, which is scientifically impossible. But there is a magnetic pole at the north. If the earth was a globe, there would have to be a magnetic pole in the south, and all compasses would point to the south. On the equator, compasses would be confused. They wouldn't know which way to go. But on the equator, compasses work fine. They point north. Halfway down below the equator, they still point north. By the time you get to Antarctica, compasses don't work because it's too far away from the north, right? Compasses don't work in Antarctica. Okay. That proves there's a problem. And then there's a whole thing we don't have time for it called magnetic declination. There's big swaths of the earth. When you wrap a flat globe, a flat map, circle map around a globe, you're going to have these big wrinkles. These are parts that are literally cut out of our earth, and they're not on GPS. They still exist, but nobody can navigate through there because everybody uses GPS. So when a ship gets a plane gets lost, like MH13, disappeared, it went into a no zone, a no GPS zone, in my opinion. So yes, the magnetics of the earth actually prove the earth is flat, and compasses only work level on a level plane.
Yeah. We have time for probably one more question that I hasn't asked yet, so I'm going to go with.
Do you have any friends or family that don't believe in the flat earth model?
Great question. Well, I have my brother and my sister. Absolutely, I don't even know if they know I'm a flat earther because they're so lost in in their make believe reality, and that's fine. I don't force anybody to do it. But what I have is a whole new family of friends that's amazing. This is a map just showing you the flat earthers around me. Look at this. These are just some of the flat earthers. These are the ones that just have my app. And And on here are just the most amazing, awake and aware people in the world. What's that?
So they're impressed by the number of people there. So do you feel that the movement is gaining momentum, that people are beginning to see the light?
Yeah, absolutely. It's growing faster and faster. You know, you guys don't remember, but in 2017 and before, there used to be a scoreboard. When you Google something on YouTube, it'd tell you, oh, you know, there's 40,000 results, 4 million results, whatever. Flat Earth overtook the top search, which was, between Britney Spears and Donald Trump. And the day that it beat Donald Trump, as far as the number one search to him, they took down the scoreboard. There's no longer a scoreboard. They try everything. If you Google flat Earth, you're going to get nothing. All of the videos on my app, on the daily video, the frequently asked questions, you won't find them on YouTube on your own. So that's why you need something to direct you there, right? The frequently asked questions page, all of your questions are answered here in video format. It's phenomenal. Don't believe anything. Verify everything. And one other thing on here, I was talking about history. If you go down, look at the giant trees, look at the mud floods, Tataria stuff, biogeology. This stuff will blow your mind, and it'll upset your biology teacher tremendously.
David, we want to thank you for taking time out to present to us today.
Thank you, guys. FlatEarthDave.com. Just go there and watch the crash course videos. You don't have to get the app. Just watch the crash course videos, and then you'll understand that you've been lied to.
All right. Let me do this there. Clay has one more question for you.
Sorry, I was just wondering if you could give me like a simple definition of what electroforce is.
A simple definition? Well, everything is electric. Everything has electrostatic force. Has electrostatic charge, sorry. And we know that positive and negatives attract to each other. So everything has a measurable electrostatic force. And as you get higher up off the Earth, the electrostatic charge gets much stronger as you go up. Every time you go up a foot or a yard, it goes up by I think 1,000 volts. There's a couple great videos on the frequently asked questions page under gravity that will explain that stuff for you if you have time.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it.
No other questions, Dave?
Well, I just wanted to say that was actually eye-opening.
Yes.
I've recently been so into conspiracy stuff, and I like hearing this makes me just question like the higher power that you were talking about. I believe in the royal family, all that stuff.
Do me a favor. Wait, listen. I know you're excited. Don't go home and tell people the Earth is flat. I want you to take some time. Don't do it because no one ever listens to me. You're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. Don't do it. Just take some time. Watch the crash course videos. Watch the levels.
I already have.
Okay.
I've been preparing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, good luck.
All right, hold on.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Come on.
So the moon landing, right? Do you think the moon landing was fake?
Dude, did you watch India land on the moon yesterday?
What?
India landed on the moon yesterday. India landed on the moon yesterday.
Did they take a video?
Dude, I'm going to show you. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. It's all right if you're late to your next class because they're not going to teach you anything useful.
Okay, we'll get a pass.
We're
I'd rather talk about this.
So Russian, India. So ready? This is the Indian moon landing. There's that's the head of India. This is the actual footage from the Indian moon landing. That's the footage. This is the footage. This is the footage. It's not landed yet. Give it a second. It's going to land.
I think that's a video game.
I know. This is like a 1970 video game, and then everyone's clapping. Dude, it's unbelievable.
Bro.
It's unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. I was doing this. I was looking at videos of the moon landing and researching about that, and there's so much inconsistency with how it looks on the moon.
But if you
the way that the astronauts are moving on the moon.
No, you're right. You got it. The thing is, if you Google it, you're not going to find anything useful. But if you go on the web button here,
On the website.
No, on the web.
Go to flatearthdave.com. Come on.
And then go moon nonsense. Listen, flatearthdave.com. And then listen.
All right, bet.
So hold
I
on.
will download that app. Just
Hold
make
on. The app's
Don't
$3.
track me. All right, he's right.
Tell David, if anyone that gets the app, there's a subscription if you want to use some of the higher features on the app, which you don't need, but I'll give it to you guys for free. Anyone that downloads the app gets it for free. Okay. I'll give you guys a code to activate it. But here, this is stuff that's being hidden from you. The moon nonsense. The rockets are balloons. Blow your mind. Nobody died in the Challenger accident. Nobody died.
No one died? All right, I'll watch it.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Before you even do that, flatearthdave.com, scroll down to the crash course, and then there's a movie. I think it's one of the top 3. It's called Level With Me. Watch that. Turn off Netflix for a couple of weeks.
No, we will. We'll
watch those movies, and then and then reach out. There you go. Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
All right,
High
guys.
five.
See ya.
Literally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Had a great time.
All right.
Very funny. Good shit.
Keep thinking. Don't believe. Think.
All right. Yeah, we had a few issues there with the fire drill, and then we lost the internet there for a few minutes.
All right.
We did have some science teachers who stopped by. So interesting to touch base with them and see what they thought.
Do me a favor. Get your science teachers and ask them if they'll do a private Zoom with myself and maybe one other guy, and let them do question and answer with us.
Okay. I'll ask see if they can do that.
Thanks. That was fun. Let me know next time.
Yeah, we'll do that there. As I said, I thought there was a lot of good questions, and kids were interested, and as you can tell, some of them were very inspired. So
last set of girls was good. They're going to get it. They're going to wake up.